Showroom stock GT in the past, now Touring 1, and today's race Touring 2. Last year's event happened on a very wet and rainy track, but a gentleman came through with a great run. Thomas Oates started pole and never let anyone by. He was your champion. Will he repeat? Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course on what has become arguably one of the nicest days of the entire week of practice and qualifying and racing. Nice to have you all with us. This is the 38th annual Valvoline Runoffs from Mid-Ohio. Hi, everybody. I'm Greg Kramer. I'm joined by Calvin Fish and Tommy Kendall down in the pits. We have Guy Hobbs and John Bizignano. This is the Touring 2 race. And it's a very interesting class because it started life many years ago with Showroom Stock GT, then it kind of went away. Now they've come back, slight modifications, but I'll tell you what, these guys really put up some awesome racing on this track on cars that are basically stock.
Yeah, they are, Greg. I mean, you really have sports cars versus the muscle cars. It's always interesting to watch the little Boxsters and the M3s who have the handling and the braking go up against those muscle cars, the Camaro that sits on the pole, the Mustang that's right at the front of the grid. So it should be a fascinating battle this morning.
Yeah, it's a real comparison of different cars. You've got power against handling in some of these scenarios. Tommy, what do you think?
Well, this is the kind of thing where this is kind of where Trans Am started. A homologation, you're not allowed to tweak on them like you are in some of the other ones and really bring them up to speed. Whereas these, you're saddled by what you're stuck with. There's some modification allowed, but you need to start with the right kind of package. And because of the different strengths of these cars, Mid-Ohio lends itself to having different types of cars be competitive. In the old days at Road Atlanta, if you didn't get down the straightaway, you weren't going to win a national championship. Here, the M3s and the lighter weight cars really have a good chance. It's a much better test of an all-around performance.
That's exactly why, as a matter of fact, one of the reasons that they moved it to this facility as well. Now, we talked in the tease about Thomas Oates and the great run that he had last year. Well, he's sort of picked up where he left off, and earlier Guy Hobbs talked to him.
I'm with Tom Oates, the pole sitter for this race today and defending champion. However, Tom, some interesting story here is this is a brand new car for you, the Chevy Camaro, very strong, good on horsepower too.
Yes, it is. It's only got, you know, the 350 V8, same as it has had, but that's a lot of power, and we like to use it.
Now, the power you have obviously helps you down the straightaways here, but this being such a brand new car, you haven't even done 1,000 miles in it yet, but if you win today and do the victory lap, it'll just tick over 1,000. Is that right?
That's what we want to plan. We need that victory lap to get over 1,000 miles, so that's what we're going to do.
Now, the Porsche Boxer, Mark Sandridge, starts alongside you. Doesn't have the horsepower you do, but it has great maneuverability and outbraking as well. Do you see him, Mark, as being a big threat?
Oh, Mark is definitely a threat. He was on the pole last year. I'm sure he's going to give it all he can. He's a good driver, got a great car, obviously. We're going to need to be on our toes and do our best to stay ahead of him.
But the bad news for him is this car made its debut in June here in Mid-Ohio and won out of box.
That's right. The car's proven to be good right off the bat, so he will have to push awfully hard to keep up with us.
All right, should be a great battle. We'll watch for that between Tom Oates and Mark Sandridge, the Chevy against the Porsche Boxster.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating to watch. Let's quickly give you the starting lineup here. It's Thomas Oates, as you said, on pole. Sandridge alongside. Brian Kelm could go for the Triple Crown. He won the sprints and he's division champion. Look a little further back. Terry Eskin won his division with 5 wins, but he's 9th. We go to the next group on the grid. There's a couple other divisional champions with multiple wins. Way in the back there in the form of Kulach and Miles, one of our camera cars. So some guys struggling in qualifying. Should be fun to watch them come from the back. They're out of the keel. They're heading toward the kink, and the green is out. Green flag flies, and we are underway here with our T2 run. There's Oates, and look at Sandridge a little later on the brakes.
Greg, he's going to try and make the move early, try and get around. He gets a bump there from the BMW, and he's off. The leader's off as well.
Oh, and 3, 4, 5 cars going up, and they join right in front of that pack. Nobody hits anybody, but it's a parking lot, and one of the cars involved there is Oates. Oh, and he's high-centered in the wet grass.
I believe it was Gamble. It looked like the BMW may have made the nudge there on Sandridge. He was attempting to move around the outside. I don't know what got Oates in trouble. He was essentially clear, Tommy.
Yeah, I think he was on the inside. Now he's having his own trouble in the M3 and is going to give up the lead to that Mustang.
Yeah, Brian Kelm coming hard.
Wow.
Look at the little, that's the Honda 2000. That's the S2000 of Rick Gilhart working him over as well.
Well, I think what's happening is I think the guys in the sports cars versus the muscle cars think they need to get out front, because with the big power of the Mustang and the Camaro, it's tough to overtake these guys with the straightaways here. And there you see a 37 looking around the Camaro on the front straightaway. He should keep it out of the gravel.
That's Terry Eskin, the gentleman I was talking about, who won the Southeastern Division, 5 wins on the year, but getting it wrong there. And you made the call about Doug Gamble getting into the back of Oates. He's got a huge wrinkle right there on the left front corner of that hood.
Yeah, that wasn't a light tap. I think he was so focused on trying, he thought that Sanders was really going to have a big go on the outside. Sanders, I think, knew that Oates was in trouble and was trying to give him room, which caught Gamble off guard. So Gamble was so focused on the bumper in front of him, saying, let's go, 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 and then just blasted him in the back. Oates was already in trouble.
Yeah, Oates came through that way too much speed, it looked like, Tommy, for the first corner at cold tires.
And I think, yeah, Sanders noticed it and lifted to try and have some sort of control, and Gamble just tagged him. But now you can see Kelvin, that black Mustang, a lot of grunt down the straight, and then here comes Gamble with the nimbleness of that BMW. What's that like as a driver? You look in your mirror and you see a car with a huge wrinkle in the hood, know that he's already whacked somebody right off the track.
Well, I think more importantly, Brian realizes that little M3 should have an advantage through this twisting section. There's a lot more nimble, more maneuverability, as Guy talked about with the different cars. And see the BMW even sort of like hitching the right front as you come up over the crest of the hill now. And putting the power down. They've got a lot of torque with that Mustang as you crest over the hill coming through turn 11. Can snap it sideways, but he's doing a good job of controlling the power in the Mustang.
And again, Rick Gilhart, number 71 in that T.C. Klein prepared Honda S2000. He's doing a nice job having jumped from 7th, as you said, knowing he's got to get up to the front. Meanwhile, obviously, Oates, we saw him last, hung up on the curb. He's dropped way back, Guy. What are they saying?
Down here with Chris Trapp, who's talking to him on the radio, and he told him to try backing it out of there. That's what got him out of the grass, the high side into Chris. He's talking to you on the radio right now. Last time he went by, you said just keep it smooth and catch him. What's going on now?
Well, we're about 33 seconds behind right now, so we got to catch up. The first turn incident there, that hurts.
Do you think you can catch up?
Honestly, I really think I do. He's a good driver. It's a very good car, and I really do think if he drives it smooth, he's going to do it.
All right, he's going to be coming by the start-finish line right here, and we'll hear what Chris has to tell him as they radio into each other. Oh, I guess nothing this time.
32, you knocked one off, but we need more. Let's go.
There you go. That's the advice coming from pit lane from Chris Trapp to Tom Oates.
Poor Sanders, that was he got it from the side and the back. He's in the Who's Your Grandma. It's more like Who's Your Daddy. I mean, it's like he got a beating there.
Got a serious thump, and meanwhile, Kelm now and Gamble have started to draw away just a little bit. The Honda's there, but he's not exactly closing in. Then the good battle behind them involves Sandridge, who is closing back up. Sandridge has regained 5th. So a good run by Sandridge with all the problems there. And we are going to return here. Only a couple of laps have unfolded, but they have been eventful. And there's Sandridge up into 5th. At the runoffs to determine our T2 national champion. And number 12, Brian Kelm, continues to lead, Guy. However, he can't seem to shake Gamble.
Another little bit of news on Brian Kelm, which is actually quite a major change from last year. That Ford Mustang, he's switched tires this year from Hoosier to Goodyear, and I think it's proving to help him out just a little bit.
Well, you know, Guy, that's a very good point. Gentlemen, we haven't really addressed it that much, but in these classes in particular, there's a tremendous tire war along with the manufacturer's battle that is arguably just as important.
From what I hear, Hoosier typically are a little bit softer than the Goodyear, so this should bode very well for Kelm up front right now. He's on the Goodyear. It's probably a little harder compound than the Hoosier runners, so he should be in good shape towards the end of the race. But again, you have to conserve the tire, and he's really throwing that Mustang around.
Well, and Gamble is also on the Goodyears. The 2 top Hoosier runners were the guys that were taken out in the first corner. So, yeah, he's doing a nice job. He obviously has the legs. Sometimes it's not enough of an advantage as the tires go out from the more abuse. But as long as, I mean, Calvin can tell you, as long as you're tidy in the keyhole and don't start feeling the heat and throw it away, get wide, ruin your shot off. That's the one place he needs to really focus, because that's where he's so strong. And also most susceptible if he doesn't get a good run on the straight.
You see Sandridge there, he's making a comeback. He's up to 4th, I believe, Greg, so doesn't look like he's got a dirty windshield, but the car looks in pretty good shape body-wise.
Yeah, he got around William Moore, who had a good run with all the incidents up front. Moore in the Mustang number 82 went from 11th to 4th, but Sandridge has now caught him there. You just got a glimpse of Moore and Sandridge. Obviously looking a little worse for wear, but the car looks pretty much undamaged, and he really has it hooked up right now. And you know, you're talking about now he can pretty much lighter car, relies more on the handling than the power, so he can probably lean on things a little bit harder. He doesn't have to conserve quite as much, perhaps.
Oh, for sure. I mean, he's got a great handling car. He's been working on the setup with that car all season, done a lot of test days here at Mid-Ohio, and here we see Shauna Marinus in one of TC Klein's M3s. She may have a little damage to the left side of the hood, or it may have just come unclipped there, but she's a regular in the Speed Vision World Challenge in the touring car division. She runs a Mazda Protege there and has had a lot of strong performances, Greg.
Yeah, and she got hooked up with TC Klein a couple years ago, and she had problems, I think, in qualifying back in 16.
Well, she was never happy with the car, but the big problem after she qualified, I believe it was in 7th, they were 1 pound underweight. They put her all the way to the back. So she has had one heck of a drive. She might be the fastest car on the track right now. Great drive last year. Came 3rd in SSB. She's loving it out there, guys. She's having more fun than anyone.
Well, in a very similar car here, Biz Gamble has just gone to the front, gone around Kelm, and has picked up the point, but carrying a lot opposite lock over the exit of Madness and the big rise there. But Gamble, boy, he's just determined here.
He's a man on a mission, and you know, these guys are in radio communications. He gets really sideways through 13. That's not good. It's going to give Kelm a chance to come back at him. But if Sandridge sees these guys battling out up front, it may give him the opportunity to close back down on those leaders.
Well, let's not forget he's got to get by Gilhart first, though, doesn't he?
Kelm's not giving up. He's running really a tidy line, and he's in front. Gamble's a little bit more ragged. And if Kelm can stay close when they get to the back straightaway, get a really good launch off the keyhole, this battle might not be settled either.
Well, Kelm's one of the guys at the runoffs this weekend who has a chance of winning the Triple Crown. Now, the Triple Crown is if you win the sprints, which is almost equal to the runoffs in terms of entries. An event at Road America held back in June. He won that. He won his divisional championship, and if he wins the national championship here, they class that as the Triple Crown. It's the first time it's really been officially recognized, and there's a trophy from the Kohler Corporation to go to the winner from any Triple Crown winner in each class.
Yeah, it's really becoming quite a prestigious deal. There's Shauna up to 7th now, and she has definitely thrown down some very fast laps at this point. Obviously, you see the problems as you talk about starting back in the pack. A little wrinkle there on the nose as she was coming through the pack. You know, she started off doing autocrossing and was just extremely fast at the Solo Nationals, and everybody recognized that she definitely had some serious talent. And as you said, Calvin, she's been running World Challenge and doing a very, very stellar job. We drop back one of our camera cars. This is J.B. Stringer. And he's out of the Southwestern Division, the SebringAnyAging.com Pontiac Firebird. And he started at the back problems, and he only got out in the first qualifying session and had some issues. He's got some company along the inside, sure enough. And so JB continues to run out there as well, but at the front, the battle continues. Gamble's in the lead. Kelm is there, and Mark Sandridge is coming on. Ohio T2 is under dispute. There's Gamble, there's Kelm, but look behind them as well. There's a tremendous battle brewing, and it's Sandridge who is reeling in Gilhart. That's that new Honda S2000 and the Porsche Boxster of Sandridge, who's got a little bit of bodywork starting to loosen up on the left rear corner. Nonetheless, though, he is absolutely hooked up.
That's where he actually got hit there, going down into the S's at the just after the initial start there, Greg. But I don't think it's going to affect the handling too much. Looks like maybe the inner fender that's coming loose, and with the speed that these guys run down the straightaway here, it just kind of tears away at it as the race progresses.
And one thing you talked about pacing. You know, these guys spend all year and especially all week planning the race they're going to run on their heads. And so sometimes when you get thrown off your plan, you throw all caution to the wind and you just put the hammer down. When you're up front, you're trying to save this, you're trying to do that. Sometimes you end the race with stuff left over, whereas these guys get into this mode, and if they can catch up, they're running 10-10s. The other guys might be trying to run a measured race, and that can almost work in Sandridge's favor. Sandridge, to clarify earlier, he's in the Who's Your Grandma's Potato Salad car. I wanted to clarify my Who's Your Grandma remark, but good-looking car. Most guys don't take their Porsche out and just beat the living daylights out of it, but in this case, that one's already paid for, so he's going to...
Yeah, and it looks like he's getting a little body rub down on the tire, a little bit of smoke coming over the exit of Madness there. Maybe of some concern if it's really gouging into a tire, but if it's just light contact, and it doesn't look constant by any measure, it's just in the turns where there's a lot of load on that car, he's picking it up. That's a good point. I remember, Tommy, some of the Trans Am weekends, Stu Hayner said it once, you said it, if you're at the back and you just come through the pack, obviously as you get closer to the front, the competition in terms of making the pass gets a little tougher, but Stu Hayner said to me once, he said, sometimes it doesn't matter because you're just, you know you can pass, you've been doing it all race, so it doesn't really affect you, you just blow by people, and then you wonder, how did I do that easy?
Yeah, you're in that mode. Sometimes you sit behind, you only have one place to make up, and you never get it done, and you're thinking, okay, I'll save it. You've got this elaborate plan that you've thought and rethought, and sometimes just putting the hammer down and going as hard as you can every corner, every lap is the simpler way to do it.
That's pretty much what Shauna's been doing, and boy, did she set up the exit on that keyhole nicely.
Yeah, those two muscle cars in front are having a great battle there. That's William Moore and Don Mills in the 82 and 85 machine, respectively. And then you see Shauna really loses out down the straightaway. But wow, she just
she may have a problem. Something has happened. Because she just got both doors dusted here.
Yeah, drivetrain or power has definitely gone away on Shauna.
Oh, what a shame. I mean, she really had put in a tremendous drive. And she's pulling off
there, actually,
something.
Greg.
Yep.
You may have seen the temperature starting to build. Looked like some smoke coming out of the exhaust there on the left side.
That's rare in this class.
It is.
Generally, you know, they're close enough to stock that they're very reliable.
And she did something that I'll guarantee you every racer on the track, and certainly every corner worker on the track appreciates. Found a cutout, pulled off well out of the way, so it's an easy thing to just push that car back behind the wall and let the race continue. And at this stage here, you can see Gamble continuing to hold on with, oh, look at the nose drop on that Mustang. Yeah. A lot of weight transfer going on in that car.
Talk about weight transfer, Greg. That BMW, I'm surprised how much it rolls through the corners, Tommy. I mean, they're a pretty stiffly sprung car on the street. And you mentioned they can do a few little things to these cars in this category T2, but he's really rolling it through the corners in the fast stuff.
Yeah, both these cars are pitching and rolling quite a bit. That's what makes, I'm really impressed with Kelm's performance. I don't think he has as quick a car, but he's really running a tidy race. You can, if he were to get aggressive, you could make that thing look like it was flopping all over the place. And he's really gathering it up, giving it everything he has, trying to stay close. Doesn't look like he has the legs, but if Gamble keeps running ragged and makes a little bit of mistake, maybe getting in traffic, he could be there.
Now, of course, how did Gamble get to that position here as they're working up through the pack? Well, let's go back and show you here. It all started, and of course, one of the guys that we're wondering about, we haven't seen him for a while, is our pole sitter. We're going to take you back and show you a couple of moments in this race that allowed Gamble to get to where he is. First of all, here comes the start.
You see it looks like Sanders is going to make the move to the outside. Oates trying to protect, and then Gamble just really rammed into the back of Sanders, took him out.
Now, here was the setup for the pass. There was Gamble. He got down inside Gilhart. Now, here's the pass, and look at it, just a classic end of that straight late braking maneuver.
Yeah, he did a perfect job there. Caught the slipstream, was tight enough to Kalman, just made the move down on the inside to the S's.
Oh, and Sandridge is off, and maybe that smoke was more than just body rub as it continues to emanate when the car's not rolling. Oh, and he's got a fire in that. There's a fire in that car.
Yeah, he needs to. Is he still in there? I think.
Yeah,
he?
Can't tell.
He needs to get out of that thing. That thing's blazed pretty good on the back end.
Yeah, that's oil that's ignited now. Corner worker there quickly with a fire bottle. I don't think he realized that
he wasn't aware of the problem. That thing's going up big.
And there's the fire rescue unit. So, well, and you know what? Obviously, that is a mid-engine car with the engine in the back, and when he got tagged, that may have loosened up and ruptured a few things here.
Yeah, he looks like he's
got maybe some smoke inhalation.
Yeah, he doesn't look too good. Sometimes when they set those fire extinguishers off, if you breathe any of that stuff in, it's not healthy, Tommy, but he looks pretty winded. I don't know what, I mean, we assume that he just had an engine problem and pulled off to the side, and, you know, then the oil or whatever was leaking started to send the car on fire, but...
Let's go down to Guy Hobbs, who's in Mark Sanders' pits. Guy, any information?
Oh, okay.
All right, apparently they're trying to get some information. Obviously, Sandridge now disconnected from the radio, so if he didn't say anything previously, not going to be able to find anything out that way. But nonetheless, here's the battle up front, and we'll keep an eye on what's going on with Sandridge. But we're talking about, obviously, Brian Kelm here and what he's been doing, just driving very smooth lines, and he hasn't let Gamble get away. It may just, I wonder, he didn't exactly make it real tough for Gamble to get by. Maybe he decided, I'm going to follow and see if I can stay close and run him off his tires. We'll find out. We're past halfway. And folks, there's the good news. That's Mark Sandridge, and he is up. Now, of course, keep in mind, if you were watching ever Firestone Firehawk competition in the past, Mark Sandridge used to run the Sandridge Gourmet Salads Porsches there. He's had a long affiliation with it. He's up and walking, and obviously maybe just as we suspected, maybe overcome with a little bit of smoke or perhaps a little bit of extinguishing. Let's check in now if we can with Guy.
Yeah, just to update you on the Sandridge situation, they talked to him, the crew chief talked to him. He said, it's broken, I'm pulling over, and that was the last they heard of him. And as you guys saw, he got out of the car, but it seemed to take his time and looked a bit winded when he got out. Sean and Marinus, they don't know, what happened. They just told me, well, she lost power and pulled off. But look at this, full course yellow. Tom Oates finds himself in the top 10 now, and that 30-second margin that he was behind is completely closed up with 10 laps to go.
Well, Guy, that's a very good point. He was in his back, obviously, and this is just what he ordered, certainly. And Tommy, you even thought that maybe this would be good for Kelm.
Well, they're going to restart, obviously, and Kelm will be as close as he ever is. Can he be close enough to pounce on the straightaway? And positioning will be important because he doesn't have as good of brakes as the M3. So even if he has a run, Gamble's going to try to force him to the outside. But all of a sudden, you've got a bunch of things to think about depending on where you fit into this pack.
And Calvin, for the heavier V8 powered cars, using up tires, using up brakes, it's going to help them.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it gives them a chance to cool everything down, cool the brakes down, cool the tire temperatures down. And there we see Oates there. I believe he's currently running 8th. So he's got a good shot at this. He's got a brand new car this year, as he mentioned, the guy on the grid, less than 1,000 miles on it. He said, I asked him what he changed from his previous car that he won with last year. He said pretty much nothing other than flip-flopping the color scheme, orange and black the other way around. That car has about 5 more horsepower in the engine department, but other than that, pretty much identical to the car he won last year. Thinking about Sandridge again, he took that hit in the back end of the car, Tommy. Sometimes that can damage the exhaust system. You get some bad fumes coming in, but I would have thought he would have mentioned that to the crew chief.
Yeah, he was sitting there taking his time. I'm guessing it was probably something to do with the fire or the extinguisher. Just couldn't breathe for a second.
Now, right behind Oates right there, Calvin, is number 50, and he had to be concerned because that's Mark Sandridge's son, is it not?
Yes, it is. Jordan, young Jordan. He's done a great job this year. He's been through the school, actually, a couple of times, and he and his dad, in fact, and just to really get some seat time. Different cars, so they really can't relate to setup, but Mark spoke to me the other morning. He said, I'd tell him, Jordan, to slow down. He said, you don't want to be faster than your sponsor.
Never, ever do that. Absolutely. There's a good look at Jordan. By the way, I think I saw the lights were out on the pace car, so we may be going back to green here in fairly short order. Now, you see right up front of Sandridge there, Oates, he qualified a second faster than anybody else in the field. And so, I mean, he's certainly got the potential to move up a bunch of spots here in a hurry. Can he get all the way to the front? Well, that'll be the amazing story if he does, but he's certainly quick. But this isn't helping, letting the field string out like this as we head back to green.
Well, I think they're still yellow. I see the yellow there still hanging from the gantry there in the background, so I believe that...
they had to extend it a lap.
Yeah, Gamble thinks they're green and the rest of the field thinks they're yellow, so hence the big lead.
That'll do it, won't it? Flat out versus caution pace here. Interesting development. I hope Gamble picks up on that in fairly short order. And he's just completely, totally out of frame. But they're the double yellows, and that tells the story. We're going to step away again. We'll be right back.
Is now leading the GT category.
Oh, we go green.
Oh, this is what happened. The rest of the field thought they were going to go green on the front stretch. They went green on the back stretch. This is unbelievable.
So Gamble, boy, I'll tell you what, he read it beautifully then. He's the guy who had his head in the game here. And I think Kelm has suddenly realized what's happening, perhaps. There's Gilhart, and here comes Oates. He's already by one car. Now he goes by the number 82, so he's just picked up 6th spot. Nice pass there of William Moore. So Oates definitely has the hammer drop. He's coming up. His next victim will be Bill Botten, the Van Winkle ADR Chevy Camaro.
It's a really odd situation, and the pace car obviously pulls off at the pit lane, but the orders are generally to maintain the pace thereabouts. and there's Oates making up another position, but
well, sometimes, Tommy, in the pro events, they start you on the back stretch, but all the restarts are on the front stretch where you actually see the checkered flag, and I think that maybe Calm was a bit confused there, and he held the rest of the field back. They couldn't overtake him because they were still under yellow.
Either way, Gamble, oh, look at look at Oates.
Well, the question comes down to, is it expressly stated you have to maintain the speed of the pace car all the way around onto the keyhole until you get the green, or once the pace car pulls out, are you setting the pace, you can do what you want? If that's the case, Kelm should have stayed with him.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the pit guys can check on this, check in with Kelm's crew chief and see if he was confused as to where the restart would actually take place. But yeah, I mean, Gamble took off a little bit, but Kelm just basically parked the thing, I believe, thinking they were going to do one more lap.
Oh, I think you're absolutely right. Oates, we've been watching him, Tommy. You've just been eyebrows up watching some of the slides and curb hopping he's been doing.
He makes another position right there.
Well, that should move him now. It's up into fourth as he just went by the number 85 of Don Mills. And so he is absolutely flying right now. Guy, I would think that the conversation on that radio's changed just a little bit.
It's changed a little bit, but Chris Tramp is also pretty unhappy about that restart. And when the leader went by, he said he should be DQ'd because obviously that gap that you were behind, you closed up all that gap under the yellow, but no one else went with him on the green start. What do you say about that?
Now, he was actually instructed in the driver's meeting, you're supposed to stay the same pace all the way around when the car lets you off. And he just took off right here, as a matter of fact, for the flag. So he had a 13-second lead on the second place guy. That's pretty hard to pick up again.
That's going to be awfully hard to pick up. But the good news is Tom has now made his way up into the fourth spot, onto the leaderboard, and he may be able to chase him down for the win with only 7 laps remaining.
Yeah, I think we're going to be in the top 3.
What's Tom telling you?
He's not talking much. He's just like he's having fun, let me tell you.
All right.
He has fun when he races.
All right, we're all having fun watching the races too. Back up to you guys in the booth.
Guy, it's tough to push that radio button when you're sideways over a curve.
Yeah, when the radio button's spinning around one way and around the other way, it's sometimes hard to get your finger on it. But this one might not be over. The officials might have something to say about that. That's what we were wondering. Usually the rules are clear, but the fact that they explicitly stated it again in the driver's meeting is pretty damning.
And I think that Gamble is in radio communication with his crew, because you actually got a good shot there down the front straightaway. He took a hard look over the pit wall as though he was talking to the crew, and you just consciously do that, look over in that direction as you're doing that on the front straightaway. They're probably discussing the situation. Maybe the officials are going to form some kind of penalty on that car.
Well, Tommy, you're right. If you were expressly told in a driver's meeting you have to maintain that pace, if they, you can't penalize everybody by not throwing the green and taking away green flag racing. So you may be doling out a single penalty here, but there you watched Oates closing up. He is taking a run at third. We'll be right back to watch it. Are back, and here's your battle essentially for second. That is Kelm in the black Mustang. Then it's Gilhart in the white Honda, and right behind him in the orange and black Camaro is Oates. Here he comes.
Yeah, the Honda there left the door open a little bit, but that's a tough corner.
Whoa, buddy.
Sideways, look at the tires. This is going to be fun.
Interesting to see Oates closing up on that Honda in an area where you think the Honda would normally excel. So Oates definitely is, he is just throwing this Camaro around.
And that Honda through this section, through the backside of the track, should have an advantage, and then you expect the horsepower to be a factor now on the front.
Here he comes.
And look at that, nice move there. He's got some tires left on the car, Tommy.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, whatever they are, they're wearing like iron. Those are some of the Hoosiers. Again, the tire battle rages here, and the Goodyears we saw early on, a little bit harder, but the Hoosiers being soft and as hard as he's had to come back through the field, appears to have plenty of grip.
Keep in mind, Kelm's best time in qualifying was almost a second, a little over actually, a second and a half off of Oates' time. So if you go by qualifying, it's all a matter of speed here, and Oates should have it. And you were watching Oates work a little different line in the keyhole, Cal.
Yeah, he's just swinging up a little higher in the middle of the corner, trying to get a later apex and essentially straighten the hands a bit sooner and be on the power earlier. But we talked about that new engine configuration in the 2001 Camaro. He's got plenty of grunt, Tommy, down that straightaway.
Boy, he just drove by Brian Kelm, and this is, of course, where Oates carried too much speed and threw it off. Not this time. That was beautiful.
Yeah, he's in perfect shape through there, and now he's got to get his head down. Now his crew chief will be on the radio to him, giving him splits to the leader, but Gamble just took advantage of that restart and has a huge lead out front right now, and I don't think with the best will in the world that unless he has a penalty or a problem, that Oates is going to be able to chase him down, Tommy. What do you think?
Well,
No.
that's a good point, because I'm sorry, but Tommy, that pass could have been for the goal if there is a penalty assessed, and I'm sure if they don't assess one during the race, you are going to see a protest that'll come through here, and deservedly so, because you need to solve that issue. We're watching here the battle for ninth. That is, again, number 82, Bill Moore, and Sandridge right in the mix of that group as well.
Car, guys. He's from Breckenridge, Colorado, my hometown. You should see him on skis.
Well, he's not doing so bad on tires either here. There, that's the red and white machine. That is Sandridge once again. Of course, that's Jordan Sandridge, who qualified fifth. Now he's dropped back a little bit, had some problems, but has come back up again here.
Yeah, he's doing a nice job. I mean, a nice young man, really learning the trade from his father, and they enjoy themselves going racing together. But yeah, we see another of the M3's 55 car coming through there. That's Alex Long doing a nice job. We have 4 laps to go. He's got pressure there from Segunda Quinones in the Camaro. And there you see his tires are probably going away a little bit, Tommy. You see the left front rolling over there coming through the keyhole. And now we see the gap from the leader back to Oates. It looks like it's closed a little bit, but still a significant advantage to have with just a handful left.
Yeah, we're past 3/4 distance, so he's quickly running out of time on the track, but you know, there is post race.
That's not insurmountable.
No, it's not the way he's flying, is it?
No, it certainly isn't. And if there's some jawing going on back and forth between Gamble and his crew, you know, he might have his eye off the ball a little bit. And Oates is watch him cowboy this thing.
Well, think about the mindset as well. I mean, if you're out front, Tommy, and you think you may have made a mistake and took advantage of a situation, you may or may not have a penalty. That really plays mind games with you.
Yeah, and it takes you out of focusing on what you're supposed to be doing, and it's just natural. Same thing can happen if you get a little bit of a problem. Maybe it isn't really slowing you down that much. The lack of attention or the shift in attention.
Whoa, and this might, depending upon where this is,
Yeah.
this might.
He looks like he's stuck.
Could be another yellow, and that's just what Oates wants. Believe me, Oates this time is going to stay with Gamble. If they go yellow, he'll stay glued to him, and he's not going
That
anywhere.
car's parked. I mean, it may be 11. I mean, he's up hard to the left side. I think the left front fender has got hooked into, and yes, it is turn 11.
He almost went over, didn't he?
Yeah. And then boom, pretty hard impact. I think the left front fender is hooked up. Those tire bundles have like this plastic wrap. It's like a netting around there, and it gets hooked up in the bodywork, and he was unable to get it out. So this car is now stationary. It'll be up to the officials to really decide if it's a full caution period necessary.
That's Eric Vickerman, the number 31 ERV Motorsports Chevy Camaro, just having a problem as he was going into turn 11. And obviously looking to get out of the car as quickly as possible.
Doing the NFL agility drill on top of the tire wall.
So we'll find out here if we're going to go full course or if they decide that car's in a safe enough position to run off the final 3 laps. We'll be right back to cover them for you. Back to Mid-Ohio as we're fast closing in on a final couple of laps here in our chase for the T2 National Championship. There is your leader, Doug Gamble. A little bit of possible controversy here in terms of that restart after that last and final yellow that we full course caution that we've seen. Should be coming up now. 2 laps to go. The margin still fairly substantial here as he comes by start finish. There's Oates. Behind Oates, well, you can see he's made up some ground. He's lost Kelm and then Gilhart, so Oates has cleared them. Question is, has he made up much? And boy, has he. It's down to 3 1/4 seconds. The margin from Gamble back to Oates. So Oates is he's in full-out chase mode.
He is, but we don't know how much Gamble is really just controlling the thing right now. I mean, it seems to me that he's a lot tidier than he was earlier in the race. We saw him really sliding that BMW around. He may have used the tires up. And that's a problem.
Something has gone awry, and he's been just absolutely hammering that car, maybe to excess.
This is the oddest touring race I've seen, because again, just when I said that these cars are usually bulletproof, the Porsche goes up in smoke one after another, dropping out.
Yeah, he's at just a crawl. Yeah,
maybe a gearbox or something.
Half shaft or drive shaft, something like that. Because yeah, there's no smoke, and the way he was throwing it around, I mean, that the torque loads and the body roll and the like. I mean, it's awful tough on the driveline. Guy, you've been following up on what's going on with Oates all race long. Any news?
Yeah, we're back here with Chris. Clutch is a problem.
Yeah, I guess the driving habits he was having, he caught him pretty good, and yeah, I think the clutch went.
All right, what's being rated in there? Disappointment, but as you say, it was from the driving style to race him in and catch up with only 2 laps to go.
Well, you know, you're not here just for the hunt. You want to get out there and you want to drive hard for the win, and he was certainly doing that. You got to give him lots of credit.
Just pulled off there in the grass, I believe. Bit of a strange, but I'm not quite sure which track position that is. It looks like up in turn 8, so try to make his way over to a corner, Marshall, but maybe he's got no drive now. So I think he's in a safe spot there. That shouldn't create a caution period. Probably just a local yellow as they come into to turn 7.
Well, this is interesting because now, of course, Gamble finds himself with an even bigger lead as he starts his final lap. But the battle for second has been what is now second, and still is the possibility of being the battle for the win, depending on what's happened. Yeah, Sandridge, a little moment here, but he gathers it back up again. And it's going to continue on, but it's that battle for second right here, Kelm and Gilhart, that repercussions could be happening in the post race here. So here's the battle. Gamble up front, but this battle we're watching right now could be huge. Here's Sandridge in his moment.
Coming into the carousel, I believe. He's on the brakes, and at the end of the race, Tommy, the fuel load goes away a little bit, the rear end gets a little lighter, and I think that was some brake bias issues caused them to go around.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're going down a gear there, but if you do your downshift at the wrong time right there, that, you know, just enough rear brake at the exact wrong time, it was definitely rear lockup.
Meanwhile, back to our battle for second. Gilhart chasing Kelm. There is Gamble. And boy, these guys have made up some ground on him as well. But as you said, Cal, I mean, Gamble might be backpedaling a little bit, just saving everything here. And again, I mean, I don't mean to keep harping about it, but I don't think this race is done yet.
Yeah, I think the real battle's going to be in the SCCA trailer when this thing's over.
The stewards of the meet will be indeed meeting.
Yeah.
Here he comes, Gamble. Nonetheless, I mean, a great drive, and you know, if he did find a way that to gap everybody, more power to him if it holds. At this point, he's won himself a T2 national championship. Here comes Kelm, fends off Gilhart, picks up the silver, Gilhart the bronze.
Great drive there by Kelm. I mean, he really handled that car well, Tommy. I mean, you talk about tire conservation, and he just really kept the platform of that Mustang as stable as he could and had a good race car. But that restart cost him, but we got to give it to Doug Gamble. I mean, he drove the wheels off that thing. Very aggressive in the early going and just really gave it 10 tenths, and he probably felt he took advantage of the situation there with the restart.
Yeah, no question. I mean, you make calls like that all the time, and there's gray areas in the rule. Again, if it was clearly stated in the drivers' meeting, it's a little bit harder to argue. Another thing to think about is he was involved in a pretty substantial incident on the first corner, and they should be viewed as separate incidents. Officials don't always think that way.
Right.
And so if they say, well, God, he was a little bit out of line there, and sometimes they're cumulative, and this one's probably, like you said, Calvin, maybe not over.
Yeah, but keep in mind his incident as well. I mean, he was really avoiding Oates, who came over on Sandridge. Hopefully they'll take that into account and view that separately. Nonetheless, it's going to be interesting here at the end of this one. We'll come back to visit with Gamble and our other medalists. Don't go anywhere. And there is Doug Gamble, the Goodyear Kinesis wheel and redline BMW M3. He is your T2 champion, and he stops and looks like, well, there's some discussion going on. That's an SCCA official right in the front there, so we don't know. Things may be developing. Let's head down, nonetheless, to pit lane and chat with Doug Gamble.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. We're down here in pit lane. Doug's pulled it in. The official, actually, one of our helpers, actually, is telling him to take his helmet off so we can get a word with him. But, Doug, first of all, we're going to ask you if we can take this netting, get that all done. There you go. If we could just ask you, the first lap incident, obviously, congratulations on the win, but tell us, first of all, about the first lap incident.
Well, unfortunately, I certainly didn't mean to do that, but the Boxster has better brakes than I do. The guys in front of me kind of got together, and there was no room, and it just went from there.
At the moment, you have the gold medal for taking the win. Some of the tougher competition was taken off, losing Mark Sandridge. Tom Oates also going to the back, but he drove his way all the way back up. Did you have anything for him if he could have got closer before he broke?
Honestly, I don't think so. The M3s are down a little bit this year, which is rules. They change a little bit. I think it might have been tough.
And now
he's got a lot of horsepower going out of that car.
Here's the key question of the day. On the restart, when the pace car pulled into the pit lane, you picked up speed and then raced all the way to the green flag on the backstretch. Everybody else thought they were under yellow and had to maintain the pace of the pace car. Do you think you're going to have problems with the protests here?
No, not the way I read it. When the pace car pulls off, you're good to go, even if it's a yellow. Yellow just means no passing. You're good to go to the green flag.
Well, however, in the drivers' meeting right before the race, they did say that once the pace car's pulled off, you must maintain that speed until you get to the green flag.
Well, that's not the way I've read it, but I guess we'll have to take that one step at a time.
All right.
Thank you.
Good job on the win, though. Thanks. Back to the booth.
Well, Guy, and that's true. I mean, there may be more information forthcoming here, but you can't take away the drive he put in was very, very solid. When he had to get it on the ragged edge and run fast, he could do it, and he was able to smooth it out when he
Exactly. I mean, we've obviously got some question marks in the air right now, but I mean, you know, you can't take away from Doug. He did a great job today. You can see his frustration in being asked those critical questions, which Guy did a great job with. But, you know, he did a great performance. He was on at 10/10 and didn't give anything up.
And like he said, the M3 is probably not the car to have. So some of those early race in-car or shots where you can see through the windshield, and he was driving it like a sprint car off some of the higher speed corners. So.
You wanted to say driving it like he stole it, didn't you? I could tell. That's where you were going with that. And he did. It really was a superb drive, and you hate to see controversy raise its head, but that is also part of life occasionally at the runoffs, and we'll sort it out when we come back. Welcome back, everybody, and the Touring 2, the T2 as they call it, National Championship, has been concluded on the track. There he is, Doug Gamble again, driving the Kinesis Racing Wheels Redline BMW, doing a nice job. And we're going to take a look now at the results here. There's Gamble. That battle between Kelm and Gilhart. I mean, Brian Kelm raced about everybody on the track today that was fast. Did a nice job hanging on to second.
Awesome job. I mean, one shot, if he'd finished in the top spot, would have given him that Triple Crown, as we mentioned earlier. But nonetheless, a great performance. Rick Gilhart in the little S2000. You know, that car was pretty ideal around Mid-Ohio, Tommy.
And it was probably at its best at the very end. You know, if the race goes another 5-10 laps, he's probably the quickest car on the track.
The guy we didn't talk about much was Segundo Quiones. Now, he has a national championship in a GT car, to his credit, from years past. This is a relatively new category, and it's produced some fireworks. And to visit with our silver and bronze medalists, let's go down to Biz.
Well, Brian Kelm second in 1995, second this year. You feel like a person who should be on the podium right now, don't you?
Well, we'll be on the podium.
I'm sorry, in first place.
Yeah, but I think when they get done here, we'll probably be in first, hopefully.
What did you see on the start?
Well, on the restart, Gamble jumped the gun a little bit on this. On the start, I think everybody went a little too deep down into the first turn, and they just slid off the outside. They just slid. I was on the inside. I had good brakes. So I just played it careful.
And what did you see on the second start after the long yellow?
That was where I think Gamble re-jumped on the start. And then Tom Oates caught me, but he must have lost his transmission or something out there, and he couldn't shift or do anything.
What a great drive. Congratulations. First time ever at the runoffs. Rick, congratulations. There's not a mark on your car. How did you survive all that?
The S2000 Honda just handles extremely well. Everybody went off in turn one and couldn't make the turn. They wouldn't let their tires heat up enough, so we just drove a great race.
T.C. Klein set up this car for you. It looked like it was on rails out there. You must be happy.
Absolutely. I'd like to thank T.C. I couldn't have done it without him this year. He's a great guy. Hoosier tires, absolutely stuck like glue out there, so I appreciate that.
I'll tell you guys, first time ever at the runoffs to come third. That's a victory.
Oh, it's a victory, especially as he pointed out, when you start seventh and you survive an awful lot of frantic action on the course. He earned that bronze. There's no question of that, with a great drive. But he certainly also gave a good credit to the car. That is a car that clearly has a future in this category.
And you heard Brian Kelm. Obviously, he was disappointed. He didn't really give us insight into what they said at the drivers' meeting. I think it'll probably come down to that. But he's disappointed with the bronze. If he gets promoted to first, he will be the first Triple Crown winner in these runoffs.
It's a very good point. He was one of the drivers up for that. And, I mean, Calvin, that's really a remarkable achievement should he get there, because the Sprints is the second biggest national championship event, second only to the runoffs. It's a huge field. And the competition, especially interdivisional, is just brutal.
Oh, absolutely. You've really got to be on top of your game to win any of the three. To do all three in one season is just remarkable. And the June Sprints, another great road course, Road America, one of the classics in similar vein, really, to Mid-Ohio. He did a great job there in capturing the win there, won his division. And today was super competitive, drove a great race, really kept the tires underneath the Mustang. And he's hoping they can win this thing in the next few minutes when they head to the SCCA truck.
They head to the truck look at the trailer, you bet. There is Thomas Oates. A sad day there. It could have been something very special had it held together, and he ended up being able to go after Gamble and take a run at it. Not to be. That's part of the game here, but he had the championship last year. He'll be back. We want to remind you to tune in as well. Make sure you're back to Speed Vision tomorrow, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Pacific Time. Formula Mazda, identical spec-type cars, but they put on a great show here. Winged Formula rotary-powered rockets. It is going to be awesome. Don't miss Formula Mazda tomorrow right here on Speed Vision. There's another look at the incidents early in this race here that spelled out some of the interesting moments later in the race. Speedvision.com. Find out what's going on in all the classes in the runoff. Check out as to what happens post-race here in T2 on Speedvision.com. Thanks for joining us here. For Calvin Fish, Tommy Kendall, Guy Hobbs, and John Bizignano, I'm Greg Kramer. Thanks for joining us for T2, and join us again here on Speed Vision.